Trish, how about you? You want to just talk about your visual condition or impairment and like how long you've been visually impaired and what your visual experience has been in this practice?
I was diagnosed when I was in my mid 20s. So I was like 26, 28. And I kept stepping on my kids and my dog. And I said, well, something's up with this. And I ended up at the eye doctor and was told that I was going to go blind and there was nothing I could do about that. And that was in 2004. And I believed them for 20 years. And didn't really do too much other than let the progression decline naturally as the retinitis pigmentosa is what I was diagnosed with, so also known as RP. And I let life roll with me, and I rolled with it. And as the tunnel vision decreased, and then all the medical records showed with my field of vision test, and anybody else that's ever been dealing with any type of vision that decreases, eventually got to a point in 2023 that following a near-death experience that I suddenly lost all of that time. Prior to that, I had a pin-sized view of light, and been able to see with my left eye. I had a baseball hit me in my right eye, so I lost the visual light, and that went completely black way prior to 2023 in my right eye. So I only had a little bit of vision, about pin-sized view on my left eye at the time, and I was wearing basically readers that were 3.5 power in order to see. And then in 2023, it just all went black on me, just suddenly. And that threw me into some mental storms, threw me into anxiety really bad, because I hadn't learned how to use voiceover or talkback on my devices to connect with my family and friends. And that was what brought on a lot of the anxiety. And I literally went in the dark and was pretty much not able to hear, see, or communicate at all until my family got home. And it was a bit of a panic attack type of thing. Moving forward out of that, I just at some point decided I was going to start looking at healing from within. And from that, I started to just explore what's out there, what's potential, what's possible. Somehow I came across Vibravision. I went to that in July. My first level 1 was in July of 2024. Met some amazing people out there, some that are still friends today. And I, again, had similar experience to John, where I was able to heighten my intuition and use the vibration and the feeling and sensations to identify objects, whatever I had set my intention to find a pathway, colors, whatever I was looking for. I can get into a lot more detail than that, but basically that program was really my first stepping stone into really exploring that there are internal senses that we are born with that are called innate senses. And I believe that they really mirror every single of the 5 senses that we've always been taught external to us, whether it be sight, hearing, smell, taste, and feeling. We have all that, and we can use those. That some people, another word for that would be the clairs, and they are very much teachable, learnable, practicable, and applicable. That's my kind of, and I've had some really good amazing I went to another level of Vibravision, and at that point I found that I needed to be redirected, and I found Vision Without Eyes. I watched my first video was Claudia, who talked about having retinitis pigmentosa, and that was my hook into, if she can do it, I can do it. And I was able to go to the first seminar in last year in January in Orlando, Florida, from there, I've been on almost every single practice I can possibly be on Mondays and Thursday nights, and have been progressing with that. I take up any free, if he pops out an extra free one, or if anybody wants to, have extra opportunities, I jump on them and do as many as I can. I'm constantly practicing at home by myself with mine that are tactile. Let's see, to current. I had talked to a couple mindsight practitioners, and Dahlia being one of them, Nikki being another, and obviously with Rob. And because I'm healing my eyes from within, I've been able to have more than light perception, and been able to really mind blow my doctor. She cannot explain how I'm able to reverse the emerging eyesight that I have from RP. It was very well documented, and she said I was literally books text RP symptoms, and followed it all the way until I changed my mindset. She sent me, after she wrote this documentation that I have for proof that I was blind in both eyes, totally black, with a little bit of light in my left eye, to where I am now with being able to identify on a screen and in person by holding up shapes and colors, able to identify them. It's kind of right now looking like a icy windshield with, depend on the lighting, looks like a glare on an icy windshield most of the time for me, but I'm able to still identify it at this point. She was blown away because I had taken them out to her and did them in front of her. And she's also been watching my videos. She sent me to another specialist. They grilled me and my eyes for 2 hours. And at that 30-day in between those two appointments, I had again improved my acuity, even though it was blurry. And that's where I'm at today.
Amazing. So just for clarification, so with the Vibravision, that was back in 2023, and then with the
Vibravision was in July and October of 2024.
2024, and then 1 year later, you met up with Rob and did the Vision Without Eyes protocols. Is that right?
Yes, I started with Vision Without Eyes and Rob in January of 2025.
Okay, and would you say there's any qualitative difference between the two of what you're experiencing as far as how you're perceiving?
Me personally, experiencing both of them, Rob's seminars are extremely more adaptable and more accessible on all fronts. And because of that, I had invited not only John, but I had also talked to Leanne. And so there was 3 of us, we kind of laughed about the 3 blind mice in our January training. And Rob was very open-minded, very, what do we need to do to make this accessible and adaptable and very successful for, the blind folks, as he calls it. And that was very successful. And then in May of 2025, I went to Canada, and that was my first time traveling internationally. And again, we had 3 of us that were blind in there, as well as Claudia, who had RP, and she lives in Canada. So I got to give her a big old hug, and her and I are just like the closest friends. But that's when I got to meet Kelly in person, and Leanne had also gone with us. So again, we had 3 blind folks in that May following our January. And again, it was very adaptable and accessible, and, really exciting to see the progression in the mindset and the consistency with those that are staying in the practice and staying on the post seminar practices.
Mm-hmm. And so when are you seeing kind of in real time, like peeking through, almost like people talk like peeking through a hole, or is it more just is it more like an image will just pop in your head, or
Well,
how?
I'm trying not to label it really anything specific, whether it be
Okay.
my insight or looking through windows, or because my experience is very different than what anybody has experienced. I'm going to elaborate a little bit on this because in January, my first my first Vision Without Eyes seminar, I was, I think it was day 4 out of a 7-day seminar. Not day 4. I was out with Dahlia in the sun, and I had my mask on, and she had had me put the eye patches on, one in one eye, and then we did the mask, and then we did 2 in that, and out within 5 minutes or so, I was again, it was blurry, like looking through an icy windshield, but I was able to identify shapes, colors up to 30 feet away. And I was also able to see the green grass and the difference between the green grass and the sidewalk, and a lot of different things. And that was through both medical patches and the mask, with my eyes open under there. And then
Wow.
I had come home and had realized that at some point on the back of my husband's motorcycle, I had my sunglasses on. And I just out of curiosity, I decided I'm looking around, and, I was like, yeah, great. I can't see a whole lot. This is kind of not, it's not as fun as it used to be when I was able to look at everything. And I love sunrises and sunsets. So I decided to close my eyes and see what I could see. And I was so surprised that I could see through my eyelids the same exact way that I saw with the patches and the mask on with that blurry vision. I was able to see the tree line, the skies, the white line, the yellow line. I mean, I was looking right and left, and my husband messaged me, or like text, or what do you call it? Talk to me in our microphone. He clicked in and he goes, "What are you doing? You're gonna make us dump the bike. You're like leaning to your right and left." I said, "I can see the lines." I was so excited. Um,
That is exciting. That's amazing.
yes, so that was so cool because then I started to see mailboxes, and yeah, and I have really had some fun. I came home, and my kids, my 2 boys that are in their 25 and 30, and I said, everybody and their wives, I said, okay, everybody, do me a favor, everybody close your eyes and look at the sun and tell me what you see and can you see the tree lines, and what does it look like to you? 2 out of the 4 were able to experience the same thing I did.
Right. Okay, so I know you all are being so gracious with your practice time right now, but I just have one other thing, and I just want to ask each of you just, and maybe start with you, Trish, since you're still kind of talking, is just as far as even without the visual piece, intuition wise, do you feel like do you feel like you've made progress with this training, or it's valuable just for the intuition piece?
Yes. I've been following the spiritual journey for about 10 years. It was an awakening, so I was very familiar with intuition. But I 100%, the intuition is, to me personally, from my heart, is the very first step. And I think that's the very first thing that people, it's a great starting point. It's a great leap, um, because it really opens up to all of the innate abilities, all of the innate senses that we have within us that had lied dormant, that we haven't been taught. And I love my intuition. I trust my intuition more than I do anything else in my life. And I have learned to, when I'm asked anything or going to decide anything, I will ask, with my intuition, to get the answers to guide me. But I have also noticed that, during the process, when you first start tapping into that intuition, it really is the first step into the rest of the abilities, whether it's mindset or whatever they want to categorize it. My post training, even on Zoom, being able to practice the intuition is so fun, and so can be very, very accurate if you really trust it and practice it a lot. But one of the things I really wanted to say for anybody who's blind or visually impaired, or anyone considering any of the potential trainings, or even a trainer or teacher, is, John and I have talked about this on so many different levels. We really want to show people that this is just another tool in the toolbox. It's not the golden grail. It's not the holy grail. It's not the put away your cane and dog, you don't need it anymore, type of thing. We're not there yet. We're just scratching the surface. We're just learning. We're just trying to bring the awareness to people that this can be another tool for us to use for navigation and identification around us as an awareness of our surroundings